You did it? Om Shri Padmatmane Namaham. Devotees, Namaste and Jai Sita Ram. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to our virtual Sunday morning satsang this beautiful November 29th, 2020. Before we commence with our prayers for today, I ask that we all join together as I welcome you to our service and as we sing this very beautiful bhajan. स्वागत समझन इस मंदिर हो, भक्ति की स्वाति की धार, सुंदर सुमधुर गान हमारा, रंजन सब नर नार। ईश सगुण निर्गुण विनाशी, माता पिता रारुयार। ईश सगुण निर्गुण अविनाशी, माता पिता रारुयार। तोर भाई हम वास्त सदाही, तोर माय हम वास्त सदाही, तार हमें संसार। स्वागत सब जन इस मंदिर हो, भक्ति की स्वाति की धार, सुंदर सुमधुर गान हमारो, रंजन सब नर नार। तीर्थ भाया या गोद लगावे, पुण्य यहाँ परिसार। तीर्थ भाया या गुठ लगावे, पुण्य यहाँ परिसार। संगति संतन नीम चलावे, संगति संतन नीम चलावे, शुभ सभा व्यवहार। स्वागत समझन इस मंदिर हो, भक्ति की स्वाति की धार, सुंदर सुमधुर गान हमारो, रंजन सब नर नार। रंजन सब नर नार, रंजन सब नर नार। At this time, devotees, I ask that we all please clasp our hands, close our eyes, that we focus our minds on the form of Bhagwan that is most pleasing to you, as we join together in chanting our opening prayers. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnata Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Ishavasyam Idam Sarvam Yatkincha Jagatyam Jagat Tena Tyaktena Bhunjetha Magrudha Khasya Svedhanam Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahe. Hari Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. But we all join together now, devotees, as we commence in chanting the most powerful Gayatri Mantra. Om Magakshirani Devi Akshare Brahmavadini Gayatri Jagat Matar Vishwayoni Namostute. Om Bhore Bhuvaswa Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Om Bhore Bhuvaswa Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Om Bhore Bhuvaswa Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Hari Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Prem Gayatri Mata Ki Jai. We take some time, devotees, now to offer prayers to that destroyer and remover of all obstacles in our life. We offer prayers to Lord Ganesh. Om Shri Ganapati Namaha. Om Jananam Bhuta Ganadhi Sevitam Kapita Jambu Palachara Bhakshanam Umasutam Shoka Vinashakarakam Namami Viganeshwara Pada Pankajam Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirviganam Kurmi Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvana Om Raksha Raksha Gana Raksham Rakshatre Lokya Rakshakar Bhaktanam Bhayam Karta Trata Bhavam Bhavaranavar Om Shriman Mahaganadipate Namaham Prem Se Bolo Ganesh Bhagwan Ki Jai. As we continue to offer prayers, devotees, I ask that we all join together as we offer prayers to that universal mother and that destroyer of all evils in our life. As we offer prayers to Adi Shakti Durga Mata. Om Mahadurgaye Namaham. Om Jayanti Mangala Kali Bhandra Kali Kapalini Dhuragakshama Shiva Dhatri Swaha Swadha Namostu Te Jai Tvam Devi Chamunde Jai Putarjini Hardini Jai Sarvagate Devi Kalaratri Namostu Te Adevi Sarva Bhuteshu Vishnu Maya Nishamnita Namastasya 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Buddhi Rupena Samstita Namastasya 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Lakshmi Rupena Samstita Namastasya 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samstita Namastasya 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Shraddha Rupena Samstita Namastasya 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Shanti Rupena Samstita Namastasya 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Tushti Rupena Samstita Namastasya 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Daya Rupena Samstita Namastasya 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Matri Rupena Samstita Namastasya 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Matri Rupena Samstita Namastasya 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 Namo Namah Dehi Saubhagyam Arogyam Dehi Me Paramam Sukham Rupam Dehi Jayam Dehi Yasho Dehi Dvasho Dehi Om Prem Sabharwari Shakti Durga Mata Ki Jai. Devotees, ask now that we all join together as we offer prayers to the most influential beings in our life. As we offer prayers to the Navgraha Devata. Om Navgraha Devataya Namaha. Haram Ha Murari Tripura Hari Bhanu Shashi Bhumi Suto Bodhascha Ghuruscha Shukraha Shanirau Keto Sarve Graha Shanti Kara Bhavantu Sarve Graha Shanti Kara Bhavantu as we continue on with our prayers, devotees. Today is known as Ravivar. It's called Sunday. We offer prayers together as we offer obediences to Surya Narayan Bhagwan. Om Suryaya Namah, 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 Suryaya Namah. Adidya Namaskubhyam Prasinamamabhashkaram Divakara Namaskubhyam Prabhakara Namostute Suryaya Namah, Suryaya Namah, Suryaya Namah, Suryaya Namah. Om Prem se bolo nagraha devata ki jai, Prem se bolo Surya Narayan Bhagwan ki jai. Devotees, may we all join together as we offer prayers to that sustainer of all righteousness, all things dharmic in this universe, as we offer prayers to Lord Vishnu. Om Shri Vishnu Namaha. Om Shantakaram Bhujagshayanam Padmanabham Surisham Vishwadharam Gaganim Sadrasham Meghavadaram Shubhangam. Om Lakshmi Kantam Kamalnayanam Yogi Bhira Dhyanagam Vande Vishnu Bhavabhayaharam Sarvaloke Granatam. Om Sashankha Chakram Sakiritha Kundhalam Sapita Vastram Sarasirudhekshanam Sahara Vakshastal Shobhikostum Bhaishtriyam Namami Vishnu Shirasa Chaturabhujam. Namami Vishnu Shirasa Chaturabhujam. Om Prem se bolo Vishnu Bhagwan ki jai. And finally, prayer devotees, may we all join together as we offer prayers and obediences to that universal Father and that universal Guru, as we offer prayers to that destroyer of all evils in our life and in this universe, as we offer prayers to the Lord Shiva. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Karapurang Haurang Harunavataram Samsara Saram Bhujagendraharam Sada Santam Hridayardavine Bhavam Bhavani Sahitam Namami. Bhavam Bhavani Sahitam Namami. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Hari Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Hari Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Hari Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Devotees, we offer this next prayer for those suffering from illnesses, diseases, injuries, and ailments. We ask that they have a fast, speedy, and full recovery. We also offer a prayer for those transitioning from this one to the next. May their passage be as smooth and tranquil. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiv Bandhanat Mrityurmuksio Mamrutat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiv Bandhanat Mrityurmuksio Mamrutat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiv Bandhanat Mrityurmuksio Mamrutat. Om Gangadapate Namaha Om Kartike Namaha Om Nandishwaraya Namaha Om Vasukiye Namaha Om Shri Sam Sada Shivaya Namaha. Prem Spar Shiva Shankar Bhagwan Ki Jai. Devotees, at this time, before we commence with our sermon for today, we will move on and have one bhajan. Put it on a slideshow. Sure. Thank you. Shiva Hare Shiva Rama Sakhe Prabhu Trivardha Panivarana He Vibhu Ajijanishwaraya Dava Pahi Mam Shiva Hare Vijayam Kuru Mevaram Kamalarochana Rama Dayani Armuru Vajaraksha Gopati Shivatano Bhava Shankar Pahi Mam Shiva Hare Vijayam Kuru Mevaram Shiva Hare Vijayam Kuru Mevaram Swanaranjana Mangala Mandiram Majatite Purusha Paramam Param Bhavati Tasya Sukam Paramarabhutam Shiva Hare Vijayam Kuru Mevaram Shiva Hare Vijayam Kuru Mevaram Jaya Yudhishthira Valabha Bhupate Jaya Jaya Arjita Punya Payonidhi Jaya Kripamaya Krishna Namostute Shiva Hare Vijayam Kuru Mevaram Shiva Hare Vijayam Kuru Mevaram Bhava Vimochana Madhava Mapati Sukha Vimana Sahansa Shivarade Janaka Jarata Raghava Rakshamam Shiva Hare Vijayam Kuru Mevaram Shiva Hare Vijayam Kuru Mevaram Avani Mandala Mangala Mapate Jalada Sundara Rama Ramapate Nighama Kirti Gunara Navagopate Shiva Hare Vijayam Kuru Mevaram Shiva Hare Vijayam Kuru Mevaram Patita Bhavana Nama Mailata Tava Yasho Vimalam Prenhiyate Tadhapi Madhavamam Kimupakshate Shiva Hare Vijayam Kuru Mevaram Shiva Hare Vijayam Kuru Mevaram Amarata Pararade Varamapate Vijayatastava Namaganupama Maikatam Karunarnavajayate Shiva Hare Vijayam Kuru Mevaram Shiva Hare Vijayam Kuru Mevaram Hanumattam Priyatapakaram Prabhu Surasardrita Sikhara He Guru Mana bhava kim vasmaranam kritam Shiva Hare Vijayam Kuru me varam Shiva Hare Vijayam Kuru me varam Narahare Ratiranjana Sundaram Patatiya Shiva Rama Vatastavam Vishati Rama Ramacharananam Boje Shiva Hare Vijayam Kuru me varam Shiva Hare Vijayam Kuru me varam Shiva Hare Vijayam Kuru me varam. Do you need this back? Do you need this back? Before we move on with our sermon for today, devotees, for those of us who have a guru, I ask that we join together as we offer our prayer to our guru. If not, then I ask that we all join together as we take Lord Shiva or Mother Durga in our mind as our universal gurus, as we chant together. Om Guru de Brahma, Guru de Vishnu, Guru de Deo Maheshwara, Guru de Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha, Prem se Bolo Gurudev ki jai. Devotees, last week when we had started, or actually when we finished our sermon, we had finished chapter 8 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in which in verse 28, Bhagwan Shri Krishna looks at Arjuna and he specifically tells him, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, 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 Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Vedesu yajnesu tapusu chevadanesu yat punya phalam prandistam atyanti tat sarvam idam viditva yogim param stanam upati chandyam. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Bhagwan Shri Krishna had told Arjuna about knowing what the two paths in this world are. And if you have knowledge of these paths, then you'll achieve salvation no matter what. He ends on verse 28 by saying a bhakti yogi, a devotional person who is full of devotion, surpasses all results of studying the Vedas and of performing yajna, tapasya, dhana, karma, and so on. Acquiring knowledge which I've spoken to you, he attains supreme transcendental abode. So very importantly, he's saying, in order for you to obtain something, you have to have the knowledge to obtain that goal. A simple analogy here is, what do you need to do to get 100 on your test? Science test, math test, music test, it doesn't matter. What do you need to do? Yeah, study. You've got to study, because that knowledge helps you attain that 100. What do you think your chances are of getting that 100 on that test? Or even an A, B, C, doesn't matter. What do you think your chances are of getting a good grade if you don't study? Slim to nothing. Slim to nothing. Because you obviously don't have that knowledge in your head. So in order for us to achieve salvation, to be exempt from things like karma, which is action, yajna, which is sacrifice, to be exempt from all of these things, we have to have the knowledge to know how to get there. We ended last week, devotees, at the start of chapter 9, in which Bhagwan Shri Krishna tells Arjuna, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama,
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama,
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Bhagavan Uvacha Idam Turte Guyatama Pravakyamyanu Suyave Jnanam Vijnanam Sahitam Yaj Jnatva Muksyase Sumat Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. He says to Krishna, Bhagavan Shri Krishna says to Arjuna, O Arjuna, because you are non-envious, I will impart to you this most confidential knowledge, which is endowed with the characteristics of Suddha Bhakti, and which bestows direct realization of me. Such knowledge will liberate you from the miseries of this material world. So it's confidential knowledge. In chapter 9, he starts off by saying, I'm going to give you this confidential knowledge, and with this knowledge, you will be liberated from the miseries of the material world. Now, this is my preface to you. This is my forewarning to you. Bhagavan Shri Krishna is about to give us some very important information, and I don't want you to assume because he's giving you the secret to everything that it's going to be easy. That it's going to be easy. That's like me telling you the secret to weight loss is a good diet and exercise. How easy is both of those things together? We had a big conversation about that last night. Some people look at the diet portion of it, and they look for the quickest results, so all they do is the diet. Some people look at the exercise portion of it, and they hit the exercise hard. Some people don't do both things together, and that's why we don't achieve our results. So, he has this confidential knowledge, and just because you're about to get this, devotees, does not mean it's going to be easy for us to attain. He goes on to tell Arjuna even further. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama,
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama,
Raja Vidya Raja Hoyam Pavitram Idam Uddamam Pratyak Savagamam Dharmyam Susukam Kartum Aoyayam Ashran Bandhana Pusa Dharamasya Param Tapa Aprapya Mam Nivartante Mrityu Samsara Vartmani Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama.
Bhagavan Shri Krishna starts to tell Arjuna more about the caveat of this confidential knowledge. This jnana, this knowledge, it's the king of all knowledge and the monarch of all confidential subjects. It is extremely pure, and since it directly reveals the nature of the self, it is the perfection of Dharma. It is joyfully performed, bestowing transcendental and imperishable results. So this king of knowledge, it's the monarch of all confidential, it's pure, and it directly reveals the nature of the self. Now remember when I said that this isn't going to be easy? How many of us are willing to face our own true nature? How many of us are willing to sit in the presence of God and let God tell us exactly who we are? How many of us are willing to let other people do that? Is it fun when somebody points out your faults? Is it fun when we get mad and lecture you guys? Or when you tell us something and we're like, no, we didn't do that? It directly reveals the nature of the self. That's why this isn't easy. Because it shows us what the good in the world is, but it also shows us how we're not living up to that good. So it shows us all the bad that we live in this life. Constructive, we call it, when somebody tells us something rough, we call it constructive criticism. But there's a difference between constructive criticism and just insulting somebody, and sometimes we don't know where that line is. So it's showing us what our true self is, and it's joyfully performed, bestowing transcendental and imperishable results. It's very hard to take some criticism and be like, okay, I'll improve. Because most of us will go, and I do this from time to time. No, what I'm doing is fine. I don't need to change. I don't need to change at all. O Parantapa, those who have no faith in this Dharma in the form of my bhakti do not attain me. They wander on the path of material existence, which is full of death. So if you have no faith in this Dharma and this righteousness in the form of my bhakti and my devotion, you do not attain me. You will wander on the path of material existences, which is full of death. So if you are not willing to understand the true self, if you are not willing to listen to this and understand this information, you will be stuck in this cycle of births and deaths over and over and over again. Now, again, just because you're being told this information doesn't mean that you'll probably be able to attain it in this lifetime. Some of us may, some of us may not. It's going to be a challenge. But the question he's asking you here is, would you rather attain salvation and live in heaven? Live in a world where it's full of happiness, full of everything that you could ever desire? Or would you continue to manifest on this material world that's full of death, that has misery, that has attachment to things that cause us distress? What would you rather have? He goes on to tell Arjuna in verses 4, 5, and 6 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Maya Tatamidham Sarvam Jagar Ayakta Murtina Matstani Sarvam Bhutani Nachaham Kiswavastitam Nacha Matstani Bhutani Pasya Me Yogamaiswaram Bhota Brahna Cha Bhutastu Mam Atma Bhota Bhavana Yathakasas Tito Nityam Vayu Sarvatra Mahan Tatha Sarvani Bhutani Matstanika Upadhraya Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Here we go. This is where Bhagwan Shri Krishna tells Arjuna this confidential knowledge. He's given us all the preface behind it. It says, if you don't listen to this, you won't attain it. But understand this now. This whole universe is pervaded by me in my Swarupa, which is unmanifest to the material senses. All the living beings and elements are situated in me, but I am not in them. All that is created does not actually exist in my Swarupa. Behold my mystic opulence. As Paramatma, I support and maintain all living beings and elements, yet I myself am not situated in them. Just as the all-pervasive and limitless wind rests always in the sky, which is separate from it, in the same way all beings are situated in me, but I am not in them. We are told, when we go to Mandir, what are we told? We are told that within every single person there is a spark of God. But Bhagwan Shri Krishna in this instance is saying that I am not in you. You are inside of me. So what is he saying here exactly? Are we contradicting ourselves when we say that there's not a spark of God in everybody? Are we contradicting ourselves? The answer to that question is no. What Bhagwan Shri Krishna is saying here is that I do not exist within you. I'm not situated with you, but that means I'm not attached to you. Because my mind is void of attachment to material and physical objects, I'm not necessarily situated within you. You are situated within me and to this physical plane that I've created, but I am not attached to you. Because a true yogi, a true person who understands that Swarupa, which means that attachment should not exist in our lives, will know that Bhagwan is not attached to us, but we are part of him. We are part of a whole. So, take this understanding. Bhagwan Shri Krishna says that all living beings and elements are situated in me, but I am not in them. So we are situated in Bhagwan. Behold my mystic opulence. I support and maintain all living beings and elements. So, that little ant that you see on the ground, that little ant that you see on the ground, that you want to squish so badly because you're so scared of that microscopic little ant, what is that ant a part of? It's part of God. It's part of Bhagwan Shri Krishna. It's a part of Bhagwan. A little bit more creepier. That cockroach that may be crawling on the wall. What is that part of? It's God's creatures. That stray dog that may be sitting outside starving. Who is that? God's creatures. That homeless person that you called an alcoholic without getting the chance to know them. Who is that? Those people who perform terrible acts. Those people perform good acts. The righteous and the unrighteous. Blacks, whites, Indians, men, women, people of all colors, creeds, religions, and races. What are they? They are God's creations. They exist within Bhagwan. Everything around us, the floor that we touch, the air that we breathe, the food that we eat, is all a manifestation of Bhagwan. So what gives us the right to perpetuate hate and disgust in this world? Why do we do that with the understanding that everything in this world is a part of Bhagwan? Because it's all situated within him. Everything that's situated within me is a part of me at this point. My red blood cells, my white blood cells, my lungs, my kidneys, my cells, everything is a part of me. It's situated within me. They try to work together. So why can't we as human beings in this world work together? Why must there be a divide between race? Why must there be a divide between sex and gender? Why must there be a divide between our mentalities and our thoughts in life? So what he's saying here is that everything resides within him. He does not reside within us because he's not attached with us. But because we reside within him, we are a part of Bhagwan. We are a part of Bhagwan. We will always be a part of Bhagwan. So why is this so hard to understand? Because our true selves at times, devotees, is very, very ugly. It is very ugly, and we do not like to admit it. As much as we think about it and call ourselves good people, we are still filled with some level of hate, some level of disgust, some level of discrimination. So it's not easy to obtain and understand this truth because we do not see the world for what it is, which Bhagwan Shri Krishna here is saying a part of him. Everything is him. Just as the all-pervasive and limitless wind rests in the sky, they are separate from one another. They are separate from one another. So just in that nature, all being situated in me, and I am not in them. So the next time you see somebody and you're about to cast judgment upon them, the next time you see someone and you think you're about to perform a heinous act, ask yourself, who am I looking at? Oh, okay. Just let me know when it goes green. I was in the moment. Sorry, devotees, if you can hear us. I know you may not be able to see us, but if you can hear us, we're having a few technical difficulties. Go to a slideshow really quickly, please. Go to a slideshow. Good. We apologize, devotees. We had a few technical difficulties. Our internet, let's call it throttled. It went down just for a second. It's already there. So as I was saying, the next time in life, the next time you see somebody walking down the side of the street, the next time you see any person, any animal, any being, anything in this world, before you cast judgment on it, remember what that is a part of. And I want you to think to yourself, if that was God standing there before me, what I say, what I do, what I act in the way that I'm about to act. And then restrain yourself. The simplest solution in life, devotees, to any dire situation is to think before you act. Growing up in a Guyanese community, I can say sometimes, get mad at me all you want for this one. Sometimes we don't do that. We like to let our emotions get the better of us. We like to act before we think. We like to speak and yell before we have a conversation. So remember, next time you're in one of these situations, if this was God, if God was standing here, if God was mediating, maybe not God, if my parents were standing here and watching me, would they be okay with the way that I'm acting? Bhagwan Shri Krishna goes on further to say to Arjuna in verses 7, 8, and 9 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Sarva Bhutani Kaunteyam Prakritim Yantimam Ikam Kalpaksaya Punastani Kalpada Visrajanyaham Prakritim Swamavastamya Visrajami Puna Punar Bhutangramam Nimam Kritsnam Ava Samprakritira Vasa Na chamam tani karamani nibhadananti dhanam jaya udhansena varasinam asakatam te suparamasu. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Bhagwan Shri Krishna says to Arjuna, O Kaunteya, when the universal devastation occurs, all beings enter my Prakriti. And at the beginning of the next Kalpa, the next age, the next Yuga, by my potency, I again create them with all of their specific natures. Though my Prakriti, which consists of the three gunas, I repeatedly create this host of living beings who are bound by their karma according to their individual natures. O Dhananjanaya. Since I remain detached like a neutral observer from such acts as creation, these actions cannot bind me. I create these living beings with their specific natures. They are bound to their karma, and that's how I will create their host. When I first described this, I talked about what we call a black box system in industrial engineering. A black box system means that there's an input, there's an output, and there's something that happens in the middle that changes the input to an output. So, when you put trash in a garbage disposal, and that garbage disposal does its thing, what comes out of that garbage disposal? Trash. We call that industrial engineering garbage in, garbage out. Same disposal. The disposal has one job. It grinds things up, makes them into finer bits. You put a bar of gold inside of that disposal. What comes out of that disposal? Gold, just in finer qualities. So, I will absorb everything, and then I will create it again in its specific nature. If you are a terrible person your entire life, if you casted judgment upon everybody, if you yelled, if you were angry, if your heart was filled with darkness and you refused to admit that, then what do you think your creation in the next life is going to be? It's going to be evil. It's going to be dark. May not even be human. For all you know, you could take the form as a fly. We are bound by our karma and our individual natures. So remember this black box theory. If garbage comes in, if bad things come in, only bad things come out. There's very few systems in this world. We're trying as a society to get better. And I'm not talking about those systems where we put nasty water in, it filters something in, it puts clean water out. In this example, we're talking about a black box, an unknown. If you put garbage into a system, I guarantee you garbage will come out in some way, shape, or form. So ask yourself, in my next life, do I want to be fine gold dust or do I want to be fine garbage? Either way, something's going to happen. So ask yourself, what is my nature today? Am I a good person? Am I truly a good person? Because for most of us, myself included, the answer is going to be no. There's some part of us that is not going to be good. Some part of us that we don't like. Something part of us that casts judgment, that discriminates, that's against Sanatana Dharma. That we have to understand, that we have to accept, and then that we have to change going forward. Bhagwan Shri Krishna continues on in verse 10 of chapter 9 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita to tell Arjuna, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, 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 Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Mayan Haksena Prakriti Suyate Sacharam Charam Itpunane Nakamteya Jaghadvi Parivartati Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Bhagavan Shri Krishna tells Arjuna, O Kaunteya, it's under my direction that the entire cosmic manifestation, so by my direction, this entire cosmic manifestation and all moving and non-moving beings are brought forth by the thing that we will talk about next Sunday during our regular Sunday morning satsang. Prem se Bolo Krishna Chandra Bhagwan ki jai. Devotees, at this time, before we have our closing prayers, we'll move on and we'll have one bhajan. Slideshow, please. Turn it off or leave it on?
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Hari Bol, Keshava Madhava Govinda Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Hari Bol, Keshava Madhava Govinda Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Hari Bol, Keshava Madhava Govinda Bol. नाम प्रभु का है सुखकारी, पाप गतेंगे क्षण में भारी, नाम कपीली अमृत घोल, केशव माधव गोविंद बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि हरि बोल, केशव माधव गोविंद बोल. शबरी अहिल्या सदन कसाए, नाम जपन से मुक्ति पाए। नाम की महिमा है पीतो, केशव माधव गोविंद बो। हरि बो, हरि बो, हरि हरि बो। केशव माधव गोविंद बो। सुवपधावत गणिका तारे, बड़े बड़े निश्चर सहारे। गिन गिन पापी तारे तो, केशव माधव गोविंद बो। हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि हरि बोल। केशव माधव गोविंद बोल। अर्जुन का रथ आप चलाया, गीता कहा कर ज्ञान सुनाया। बोल बोल नित चित से बोल, केशव माधव गोविंद बोल। हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि हरि बोल। केशव माधव गोविंद बोल। हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि हरि बोल। केशव माधव गोविंद बोल। केशव माधव गोविंद बोल। केशव
Devotees, at this time, I ask that we all go ahead. Relax your bodies, straighten your spine, take a deep breath in, exhale out. Drop your shoulders, clasp your hands, close your eyes. Focus on a form of Bhagwan that is most pleasing to you, and join with me as we chant our closing prayers. Om Sarvesham Swasti Bhavatu, Sarvesham Shanti Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Om Sarve Sukhino Bhavantu, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschita Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Mantrahinam Kriyahinam Bhaktihinam Janardanam Yatya Pujitam Maya Deva Paripurnam Tarastu Me. Papoham Papu Karamaham Papatma Papu Sambhava Trahimam Pundarikaksham Sarva Papu Haro Hari. Om Tvameva Mathascha Pita Tvameva, Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva, Tvameva Vidyadravinam Tvameva, Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasuma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityuma Mritam Gamaya. Hari Om Shanti, 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 Hari Om. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Neu Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Dha Shantir Anta Antariksham Shantir Prithvi Shantir Apa Shantir Aushadheya Shantir Vanaspati Shantir Vishwadeva Shantir Brahma Shantir Sarvegvam Shantir Shantireva Shanti Sama Shantiredi Hari Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Prem se bolo Ganesh Bhagwan ki Jai. Prem se bolo Adi Shakti Durga Mata ki Jai. Prem se bolo Vishnu Bhagwan ki Jai. Prem se bolo Shiva Shankar Bhagwan ki Jai. Prem se bolo Shiva Shakti Mandir ki Jai. Prem se bolo Sanatana Dharma ki Jai. Devotees, with this, we've come to the end of our virtual Sunday morning satsang. And for those of you who are tuning in live and those of you who will be watching in the future, we want to thank you for being here with us today. Just as a couple quick announcements, devotees, we hope that you all had a safe and wonderful Thanksgiving. We here at the Shiv Shakti Mandir, the executive board, and myself are very thankful for each and every one of you for your continued support for everything that we're doing, virtual and in person. We really aren't doing anything in person. When I say in person, I mean for those 3 or 4 people that are in the room with us today, to make sure that we can continue to spread Sanatana Dharma, that we can continue to join together and pray together. Even if it's not together physically, I'm still glad to know that we can all be together somehow. I feel the energy every time that we pray. So I want to say thank you for all of you for being here with us today. On just one quick note from myself and from what I've been working with at the hospital, we're working on a rollout for this current pandemic. When I say current pandemic, I'm talking about the coronavirus, COVID-19. Even though it does not seem like it, the way the virus is spreading and the serious nature of the virus is true and it's real. So I do not want us to downplay what we may not see. We cannot see God, but we know it exists. So just because you can't see the spread doesn't mean it's not happening. Our ICUs, our critical care units, and our patients and our staff are extremely overwhelmed with the number of cases we're getting on a daily basis, the way we have to treat and care for these patients. And I see on a regular basis, too, the devastation that's brought to our frontline workers, having to care for these people so hard just to watch them pass away. So as we move into the new year, devotees, we know that some vaccines are coming out. These vaccines are important, and they're important because it's not just one, it is 2 vaccines that have to be given within a specific time frame of one another. We as healthcare providers have already recognized that there are going to be issues with us administering these vaccines and tracking and making sure that there's compliance towards administering these vaccines. So what we ask of you is, if you choose to get a vaccine, especially for those who are immunocompromised, get your vaccines and mark on your calendar when that second vaccine is meant to be given. If you do not help yourself track it, you will not become better. Try to make sure that you are on top of this at all times. So remember, 2 vaccines, or a vaccine with 2 doses. You get one, schedule your appointment to get the other. Do not cancel it. Do not make any plans. Do not go travel abroad. Don't do anything. Make sure that if you plan on getting this vaccine, you do it appropriately. That is my advice as a pundit and as a healthcare professional to you all. So I want you to keep in mind. Devotees, I hope that you have a safe, wonderful, happy, and healthy week. We are approaching more into the holiday seasons. Please remain safe. Please stay safe out there. Be cautious. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you on our next virtual satsang. I will now hand the microphone over to our president for a few more virtual announcements.
Sita Ram devotees, thank you for those that call and inquire about our well-being and why I am not on the microphone on Sunday to talk to you. It's because of my schedule. It's somewhat been kind of a busy schedule for me, and we had to make some trips, but it was trip in my car, so it was safe. I am trying to stay away from, although I work at an airport, trying to stay away from traveling right now. Our Panditji has said it all about COVID-19. Who would have known that 38 weeks later, we have not had a community gathering. This virus is preventing families from getting together. It is preventing friends from getting together, and it's affecting so many of us, both from the mental wellness of our state to the physical well-being of all of us. For example, those that have lost loved one, we have 2 members of our community that have lost loved ones in recent week. by Walter and Bahinsi Rani have lost loved ones, and by Rick Somra. He's in Guyana right now. His brother passed away a couple of weeks ago. So our deepest condolences to the family of those two of our community members and their family. We pray for the eternal happiness of the departed souls. Today, I just want to mention a couple of things. Three of the goals we have set for our mandir when we established this mandir, and as this mandir continued to flourish, were for us to teach our community, to teach the young minds in our community to grow up to be very productive citizens, to influence each other. Panditji have always said, you are who you are based on the company that you associate with. And third and last goal was a community togetherness. I know about the community togetherness. We all know about the community togetherness. We always look out for each other. We always inquire about each other's well-being. The other two, to teach and to influence. The young minds that have grown up in our mandir over the many, many years, I think parents and our community as a whole have done a wonderful job. And with that said, we are seeing example after example after example of the teachings and the influence of the young minds in our community. And today there are two great examples. I want to congratulate Master Shane de Freitas. He just completed all his study to receive his undergraduate degree, a Bachelor of Art degree in management. And then another young mind, Jasmine, who just finished her undergraduate study, and she too will be graduate with her bachelor's degree in a few weeks. So those two young minds have grown up in our mandir. They were influenced by their association, and today they're receiving their degree to move on to the next stage of their life, to be extremely and highly productive citizens of this country. So Shane and Jazz, congratulations to both of you. We're so excited and we're so happy for both of you. Another young mind that has been influenced in the mandir surrounding is that of Kamini. Kamini applied. She is getting ready to graduate from high school in early next year, and she had applied to several universities for acceptance. And most of you know that University of Georgia is one of the top universities in the country. And they're very, very selective of who they accept in the early application stage. You have to have a 4.0 GPA in high school, take advanced placement classes, community services, and whatnot. And they look at all of that. They plug it into a computer, and it spits out a rating. And I'm so happy to say that Cam was accepted last week. She received her acceptance letter to the University of Georgia. Another young, great minds that will have a very influential part in years to come. So Cam, we want to congratulate you on your early acceptance to the University of Georgia. All of us are so proud of you. So three young minds that I need not repeat the accolades, but it is so exciting, especially for me, for so many of us, that these three young minds are just moving on to do bigger and better things in their life. Again, Master Shane, young Miss Jasmine, and young Kamini, congratulations to the three of you. We're so proud of you. We're so proud of you. And finally, we have a few people that have celebrated special events in their life. We want to wish Ryan Sugdeo a happy birthday. And we also would like to wish Auntie Janet and Uncle Balram a happy anniversary. So may you enjoy your special celebration. With that, devotees, I ask that you continue to keep yourself and your family safe. take the necessary precaution, and we will see you next week for another virtual satsang. May God always shower His blessing upon you and your family. Sita Ram.